I'm Ashley and welcome to my channel. So today is January 5th, so in this video I'm going to be reading my first two fantasy romance books of 2023. And those two books are going to be Defend the Dawn by Bridget Kemmerer and also by the same author, Forging Silver into Stars. In addition, in this video I'm also going to be starting my reading journal for 2023. And this will be my first time doing a reading journal, so I'm super excited to start this. And also I'm going to be doing some meal planning in this video as well for my dinner meal plans for January. So I'm going to start with Defend the Dawn. And this one is a sequel to Defy the Night. So Defy the Night was one of my favorite books of 2022, and it follows the alternating perspectives of our two main characters, Tessa and Corrick, and both of them come from two very different sides of life. Tessa is an apothecary apprentice who lives among the working class, whereas Corrick is a younger brother to the king and is the king's right-hand man, so he pretty much deals with the more unsavory tasks. And a lot of the people, including Tessa, view him as a villain of sorts. And so in the story, of course, Tessa and Corrick end up meeting and they end up having to work together to help out the people of their kingdom. So I really love the characters and the romance in Defy the Night. So I'm super excited to read Defend the Dawn. Although I'm also a little nervous because Defy the Night wrapped up the story really nicely. So it'll be interesting to see where the story goes in Defend the Dawn and if it can live up to Defy the Night. So I'm going to go start reading Defend the Dawn and I'll be back in a little bit with my initial thoughts and feelings. I have made it to chapter 6, page 56, and so far I am enjoying it. I really liked how the first chapter starts with a new character and you don't really know who they are yet, but what they are doing is the same thing that Tessa and Corrick were doing in the first book, so that was a really interesting parallel. And then the second chapter onwards, you get Tessa and Corrick's points of views. And I found it just really easy to fall back into the characters in the world, and it kind of just feels like I never left. And so far, the plot is interesting and seems like it has potential. So I'm interested to see that develop more. Yeah, so that's all I really have to say so far about it. And I'm just hoping that it continues to get even better. So now I'm going to take a break from reading. I'm going to do some meal planning. I'm going to use this planner, which is my new one for my 2023 meal planning. And I'm going to continue filling this out. So I have this week's meals in here, but I need to fill out the rest, so I'm going to go do that now. have made it to page 98, chapter 9 now. And I'd say that my enjoyment of the book has gone up a notch. So I was enjoying it before, but now I feel like I'm really enjoying it. And there's already been like some cute moments between Cork and Tessa that just like made me happy, made me smile. And then there's already been like some exciting action things happening. Like there was already an assassination attempt. We're not even 100 pages into the book yet. And then there was the introduction of this new character, Captain Blakemore, who is a very interesting character, and I already love like the banter between him and Cork. And it seems like the plot is gonna get even more interesting because it seems like Cork and Tessa are gonna end up going with Blakemore to a different kingdom to try to make a deal with the king there to see if they can get more moonflowers, because the moonflowers are needed in their kingdom to cure this illness, and they don't have like enough of them in their kingdom. So yeah, that is where I'm at. And now I'm gonna take another reading break, and I'm going to work on my reading journal. So for this, I think I'm gonna make it Ghibli themed because I have these stickers. And I think for my first page, I want to do one of those bookshelf pages where you have shelves and then you have like the spines of books, and then so as I read book I can like write the title of the book on the spine. So I think that will be fun. So I'm gonna go work on this. Hi, so I'm back with a reading update. It has been a few days. It's now January 7th, and I have now finished Defend the Dawn. I'm happy to say that this book lived up to the expectations set by the first one. The plot was intriguing, and there were twists I didn't see coming. This book had the introduction of new, interesting characters with Captain Blakemore and his crew. And on his crew, there was a little girl named Anya, and it just really made me think of Anya from Spy Family, and this girl was like just as lovable. It warmed my heart how Cork befriends her, and the interactions between her and Cork just brought a smile to my face because it brought a certain lightheartedness to Cork's otherwise darker or more heavier character perspectives. Speaking of relationships, I was worried after the first book how this book would keep Tessa and Cork's relationship interesting. However, this book did manage to do that because it showed that while Cork and Tessa did confess their feelings to each other in the first book, that their relationship still is very much a new thing and they still have many hurdles to overcome. Though I will say that it did bother me a little bit how Tessa is so quick to doubt Cork after everything they've been through in the first book, and then how she quickly trusts this new character who she's just met. Which I understand that like Tessa always tries to see the good in people, and that this new character is very open and friendly and seems to share a lot of her ideals, while Cork is the exact opposite, where he's like hard to read and he's used to like hiding his true feelings. So I understand all of that, but at the same time, like it still bothered me. One thing I really loved about this book was how we got chapters from King Harrison's perspective, and I found myself really looking forward to reading those chapters and learning more about him. And he has quickly like become one of my favorite characters in this series. And speaking of characters, I was happy that we got more of some of the minor characters from book 1 made a reappearance in book 2. And some of those characters were Rocco, Quint, and Lachlan. And then in contrast to book one, book two ends on a cliffhanger, so it's very clear that there will be a next book. So overall, I really enjoyed this book, and I'm super excited to read the next one. So I'm giving this book 4 stars because while I really enjoyed it and it definitely lived up to the standards set up by the first book, it didn't quite have the same impact on me as the first book did. And I don't know if that's because I went into this one with 0 expectations, and while reading this one, I already had expectations set up by the first one. But yeah, I really enjoyed this and I would definitely recommend it. So next, I'm going to be starting Forging Silver into Stars. And this book is actually a spin-off from the Cursebreaker trilogy. So I'm excited to read this because from what I understand so far, it follows one of the minor characters in the Cursebreaker series, but it also introduces new characters. So I'm going to start this and then I'll be back with my first thoughts. Hi, so it's a day later. I'm back with a reading update. So I read up to page 98, chapter 10 yesterday. And so far, I'm really enjoying the characters and the story. So this book is told from 3 alternating perspectives of Taicho, Callan, and Jax. Taicho is our returning character from the Cursebreaker series, whereas Callan and Jax are 2 new characters. So Taicho was one of my favorite characters from the Cursebreaker series, so it's great to get to see him again in this book and to see how much he has grown. So in the Cursebreaker series, he was 15 years old, and in this book, it's 4 years later, so he's 19. And it seems as though he has found his role in the world, his place in the world, because he is now the king's courier, and as such, he carries messages between Prince Ren and Emberfall and King Gray and Sai Shallow. And so it's great to see how he seems to have more confidence in himself, but he's still the same kind-hearted person that he was in the other series. So our other 2 characters, Callan and Jax, are close friends who live in Sai Shallow, and they live in the small town of Briarlock, where Callan runs her family's bakery and Jax helps out in his father's forge as a blacksmith. So both Callan and Jax are facing tough times. Callan lost her father 6 months earlier, so she's been trying to run the bakery, their farm, and take care of her 12-year-old sister Nora all on her own. And then Jax has been struggling to try to keep up with orders from the forge because his father has just been spending all his days drinking. And then to make matters even worse, at the beginning of the book, they both receive notices from a tax collector, and pretty much they have to repay a certain amount of silver within a certain time, or they'll both lose their businesses. So it's when they are facing this dilemma of how in the world are they going to pay back these silvers, and it seems impossible, that this lady who is wearing fine silks, so that shows that she's probably from a higher, wealthier class, comes into Jax's father's forge and asks for Jack's father. Of course, Jack's father isn't there. He's out doing who knows what. And the lady demands to know when his father will be back, and Jack says he doesn't know. And then he asks her what she needs, and she says that she needs him to pass on a letter for her and that he's done stuff for her before. So then Jax learns that she's actually associated with the Truthbringers, and the Truthbringers are a faction that want to get rid of the king and his followers because they fear the king and his magic, and some of them believe that he tricked the queen into marrying him, which of course if you read the Cursebreaker series then you know that's not true, but it is interesting to see like the perspectives of the working class in this book. So Jax knows that he probably shouldn't get involved with the Truthbringers because it's dangerous, but at the same time the lady offers him a bunch of silver to hold on to this message and pass it off to someone else. So he ends up agreeing because he sees this as maybe like a way to save the forge and to also help Callan save her bakery. So then afterwards he goes to the bakery to confide in Callan about the letter, and is when they're talking about the letter that Taicho shows up at the bakery. And Taicho was on his way home from Emberfall to Sai Shallow to the palace, but his horse lost one of her shoes, so he's looking for a blacksmith to fix that. So he walks into the bakery. He doesn't hear what they're talking about, but he does sense that he walked in on something, but he ends up just like brushing it off and getting his horse's shoe fixed and going on his way. But you know that at some point they're all gonna meet up again because now they're all connected. So yeah, that's about where I'm at, and I'm excited to read more of this, and I'll probably be back with an update after I finish, and I'll give my final thoughts. Hi, so I'm back and I finished this book and I loved it. 5 stars all the way. It gave me that can't put this book down feeling, and when I wasn't reading this book, I was thinking about the book and the characters. The characters were a major reason why I loved it so much. All 3 of our main characters, Taicho, Jax, and Callan, were all really well developed, and their character arcs came full circle. So all 3 of them found a way into my heart. Jax and Taicho's perspectives were my favorite chapters to read. Seeing their relationship develop was both heartwarming and heart-wrenching. At times I was smiling, and at times I was super worried for them. And I also loved how they had the type of relationship where they made each other stronger. And while their chapters were my favorites to read from, I very much enjoyed Callan's perspectives as well. I love seeing her with her sister and their relationship, and seeing her come into her own as a person. And this book was very much character-centric, which my favorite thing about stories is reading about characters. So like you could have like an okay plot and awesome characters, and I'll be there for the characters. Speaking of characters, I'm glad we got to see characters from the old Cursebreaker series in this one again. In particular, I felt like Ren really shined in this book, and I feel like we got to see a different side of him and his friendship with Taicho. And reading Fortune Silver into Stars really made me want to reread the Cursebreaker series again. And I would say that you could definitely enjoy this book without reading the Cursebreaker series, but I would recommend reading the Cursebreaker series first, because if you read that series first, then you'll already know some of the characters in this one, and you'll already have a sense of the world. And I feel like that makes this one even more enjoyable. While the story focuses majorly on the characters and their development, there is a slowly building plot that stems from the tension between the people and the royal family. And this plot is woven artfully into the character arcs of all 3 characters, and it slowly builds until it reaches an exciting edge of your seat climax near the end of the book. The ending of the book did leave some loose ends, but Callan, Jax, and Taicho's character arcs all had a satisfying ending to them. So there is clearly going to be a second one because of these loose ends. And in particular, there is a certain character who needs to have their character arc happen still, and I'm excited to see that unfold. So now I just kind of have some random thoughts I want to share. So first is about the title. I just really love the title and I find it so magical and just like a pretty title. But after reading this book, I feel like the title has also taken on like more significant meaning, and I just found that really interesting and clever. I don't want to say anything else about the meaning because I don't want to give anything away. And then the other thing I wanted just to mention is the baker in me is super curious as to exactly what kind of cakes are these sweet cakes that Callan makes in her bakery and that they mention throughout the book many times. All I really know is they have frosting on them because at one point Callan mentions Nora frosting them. But other than that, I'm like, are they some type of cupcake? Or are they some type of cinnamon roll? Or something like a breakfast pastry? Because Taicho then makes a remark later on in the book that the castle always has sweet cakes in the morning. So, exactly what kind of cake are they? I don't really know, but I would like to know. But anyways, overall, I really enjoyed this book and I'm excited to read the next one. Now to wrap up this video, so I thought these two books were a perfect way to start off my reading year, and I hope that I get to read many more amazing books this year. Let me know in the comments down below if you read either of these and what you thought of them, or let me know what your first read of the year was and how it was. I hope everyone has a great reading year full of amazing books. Thank you for watching, and bye!